Good day, bonjour, dober dan. I'm Michael Dudley, currently in Kensington Market, a heritage neighborhood of Toronto, Canada, widely regarded as the most multicultural metropolis in the world. In October of 2018, however, I was exploring historic Croatia, where I met the accomplished haiku poets Tomislav Maretić Dejan Pavlinović, with whom simpatico friendships soon developed. Together, we embarked upon a co-creative project that we named NEXUS Haiku, which in 2021 was published as a volume of co-written haiku, senryu, sequences, and rengay. The word nexus seems to have first appeared in Europe during the 1600s, coincidentally around the same time that the father of haiku, Matsuo Basho, was writing his impactful evolutionary poems in Japan. Initially, nexus, from the Latin verb nectare, meaning to bind, meant bond, link, or interdependence between members of a group. The contemporary definition of nexus includes the concepts of intersection, unity, coherence, and connection. Both the classical and modern meanings apply to nexus haiku, since each poem in the bilingual cross-cultural volume has been collectively written. Interestingly, the word nexus itself conveys a sense of its multiple meanings. The middle X geometrically presents a visual link and intersection, while its final two letters spell us, representing a connection among members of a group. And such describes the rewarding experience that Tom, Dan, and I enjoyed while writing NEXUS Haiku.
I was honored that Michael, Tomislav, and Dejan entrusted me with their work. First, it was necessary to determine the difference between collaboration and co-creation. After getting to know their way of working, the answer was in fact quite simple. Literary collaboration is the combined efforts of numerous writers to form a literary work. Co-creation, however, is the writing of each individual haiku or verse by numerous writers, so that each poem or link is created by the equal participation of two or more writers. Fascinating. Each with his own life schedule, responsibilities, priorities, balancing affinities, merging perspectives, the process of co-creating must have been great. It's one of the few places where complete equality can be achieved, actually, the place of co-creation. Wouldn't we understand each other immediately if words denoting inner states had the same significance to all of us? How many haiku poems have we read whose first line is cherry blossom? It seems that endless possibilities of association can arise from these words, and that it's still possible and will be possible to find a fresh and innovative approach by which we can propose something new. If we had the opportunity to fully grant someone to contribute with one's creativity to architecture, rhythm, empty space, sonority, etc., we allow opportunities beyond the written word, leaving us to learn, accept, understand, and adapt to a society that surrounds us. And that's what impressed me in this work. The book is a journey through the seasons, villages and towns, seas and mountains, from which one can read a combination of the author's experiences as they lived one life. You will find standalone haiku, rengay, and haiku sequences glistening like pebbles from the shore that the pure souls of children put into their pockets. The book demonstrates that it is possible to balance evenly with other personalities, however different they may be. Language sometimes goes hand in hand with cooperation, and sometimes it worsens a relationship, but in any case, it gives us a chance to express. I can help but wonder, given our common haiku denominator, whether we may have been pre-coded with a common universal sense that needs a trigger as light as a petal, as powerful as a thunder, in order to be activated. Has there been a series of coincidences that got us here, or have they been intentionalities? And it is a great opportunity to get to know each other. Anyway, from now on, we are connected. Enjoy this book.
Zid s grafitima. Čitam novine nađene na sjedištu busa.
Wall of graffiti. I read the newspaper found on a bus seat.
Kajakom po kanjonu. Zvučna podloga pjevica.
Kayaking the canyon, a soundscape of warblers.
Raising the roller blinds. Eyelids halt a new day of aftershocks.
Reports from the coast, lost between mountains. Dust follows a mail truck.
Road's end begins the ocean expanse. Alluvial waves. Drevno ziđe, pogled prolaznika koji vuče kofer.
Ancient masonry, the gaze of a passerby pulling a suitcase.
Seoba čigri. Pod krilima se šire rebrasti oblaci.
Migrating terns, ribs of cloud expanding beneath the wings.
Bonaca. Zamasima ruku budim dubine.
Calm open sea. My arm strokes awaken the depths.
Opet za šankom. Njegova životna priča okreće novu rundu.
Again in the bar. His life story sets up another round.
Good morning, my haiku friends. I want to talk about how I met my friend, Canadian haiku poet and author Michael Dudley. It was on September 2018 when I received an email from American writer Jim Cation, and he recommended that I meet the Canadian poet Michael Dudley, who was visiting Zagreb during a work journey that began in June. Soon after I received Jim's message, Michael also contacted me by email, and within a couple of days, we met each other by the city square monument of Ban Jelačić. Michael and I soon discovered we had much in common and easily enjoyed many hours that day walking the city and discussing shared interests and personal histories. Later on, I introduced him to other Zagreb writers and haiku poets. I want to stress Nikola Đurđić and Drago Štambuk. And Michael and I also attended as audience members the Zagreb Literary Talks, featuring an array of notable international writers. As well, Michael and Nicola attended the book launch of Elegies and Other Poems by Irish poet and publisher Desmond Egan. Quickly, Michael merged with the Zagreb literary environment and soon became a contributing member of it. Into the Croatian haiku community especially, he infused fresh influence and perspective. That October, at the Pumpkin Haiku Festival, Bučiada, Michael presented in Ivanić Grad, city his encouraging lecture in praise of goods and haiku. In our conversation, Michael presented his old ideas, already tested, about co-creation, sustvaranje. He soon met Dejan Pavlinović, a haiku poet from Pula, and that was the beginning of our beautiful haiku collaborative friendship in our project named NEXUS Haiku. I am now at the island, and I can say that at the end that instead of the song of the last crickets, sound of the first autumn rain. Namaste.
Hello, my name is Nina Šestanović, and I'm artist and art teacher. And I did the front cover painting and also the interior design for the NEXUS book. And front cover painting I choose and I painted was actually depicted by the motives of my childhood memories in the island where I grew up, island Korčula, and I wanted to put that as a symbol of nexus, of togetherness and connections between me and my roots, where I come from, and my family and tradition. The interior design are black and white, so I did the drawings in black and white style as I wanted to get that feeling of a dreamy and reminiscent of the life and of the kind of situations in life where there is not that realistic, but it needed for me to look a bit dreamy, as the poems for me while I was reading looked like. So that's actually. I wanted also to thank my colleague Dejan and Tomislav and Michael for giving me the opportunity to participate in this project. I had a lot of fun. Thank you, guys.
Cyclonic storm accelerates my cycling. Time in slow motion.
Snowflakes changing vectors.
Crackling fire, a tree shadow of frost up the porch steps.
Remembering our descent into the cave.
Distant voices mingle with drizzle on the rutted road.
Farm kids playing shinny. Breaths bump into each other.
Ribić, mladi mjesec, baci dugo svjetlo.
Angler, the new moon casting a long light.
Još drži oblik pepeo cigarete. Odbačena zmijska koža.
Cigarette ash, still keeping its shape. Shed skin of a snake.
Njen miris, pride, njanop, polupsa, sve etni mjecis.
Approaching, her scent before her kiss. Flower moon. Hello everybody, many greetings from Pula, my workspace, the school where I work, Gimnasia Pula. The whole process of composition of NEXUS Haiku and editing the poems and later finalizing the book lasted for almost 3 years. In short, whether in pairs or as a group of 3, we wrote alternating lines which were afterwards mutually revised by those who wrote each poem. We worked and wrote as a group of 3, but also in pairs, which means Tom and I, Michael and Tom, and Michael and I. The whole process of writing, editing, and revising our co-creative work took place in person when Michael was here in Pula with me, and also in Zagreb when he was with Tom. Later, when we were apart, we communicated online and wrote by mail, while our revisions happened via Skype, more or less on a monthly or weekly basis. Such very specific, I would say, process of co-creation and collaboration, where all the poems were written jointly and collaboratively, was quite new to me, and it proved to be very exciting, atypical, and I would say quite original. It was challenging to follow each other verse by verse, as the logic, poeticism, compactness, and content of each poem had to be respected, of course. On the other hand, that meant that during the revision process, compromises and acceptance of a different opinion were quite necessary. It proved to reward patience, non-attachment, and adaptation. There was no room for ego, because all 3 of us essentially formed one collective haiku mind and one creative soul. In the end, I'd like to say that I learned a lot. I also tried some new forms such as haiku sequences and rengay, and it was quite a privilege having worked with distinguished and established authors such as Michael and Tom. Besides the creative writing process, the biggest benefit and best experience for me personally were, and still are, the friendships with Tom and Michael. We spent hours and hours together during the process of writing and revising. We had a lot of fun and spent some good quality time together. Well, I hope you enjoyed the book. Cheers.